Ford just recalled 1.4 million F-150 trucks. The transmission randomly slams from 6th gear to 2nd at highway speed, locking your rear wheels without warning. Drivers have crashed into barriers, people have been hospitalized, and Ford knew about it for over a year before they told a single owner. But that is not even the worst part. This is at least the 8th time Ford has recalled the F-150 for this exact type of transmission failure. So why does Ford keep building a truck with a gearbox that breaks the same way over and over? And how many people have to get hurt before they actually fix it? The trucks in this recall are 2015, 2016, and 2017 model year F-150s with the 6-speed automatic transmission, the 6R80. Ford built almost 1.4 million of them between March of 2014 and August of 2017. Every single engine option is included. If you own one of these trucks, you are in this recall.
So what actually goes wrong inside the transmission?
There is a component called the lead frame. Think of it like the nervous system of the gearbox. It carries electrical signals between the sensors and the truck's computer, so the transmission knows what gear it is in at any given moment. Over time, heat and vibration corrode the connections inside that lead frame. And when the connection gets bad enough, the transmission range sensor sends a garbage signal to the powertrain control module. The truck's brain panics. It has no idea what gear it is in anymore, so it does the worst possible thing it could do at highway speed. It defaults to a downshift. Not a gentle one. It slams from 6th gear to 2nd. One owner on the F-150 EcoBoost forum described it perfectly. He said he was going about 45 miles per hour. The truck locked up, tires screeched, and before he knew it, he was in 1st gear. He said it was really intense and that he was lucky nobody was around him. NHTSA's own testing confirmed exactly what owners have been saying. Their Vehicle Research Test Center documented that this defect causes what they called an abrupt wheel speed reduction that could cause the rear tires to slide. And there is a second failure mode too. During reverse maneuvers going uphill, the same glitch can drop the truck into neutral and let it roll forward. So you think you are in reverse, but your truck is rolling toward whatever is in front of you. That is 2 separate ways this defect can get you hurt. Now, here is where the numbers get wild. Ford's own filing with NHTSA shows 444 warranty claims, 121 field reports, 105 customer service contacts, and 316 complaints filed directly with NHTSA. That is 891 unique trucks that reported this problem. Ford says there has been 1 crash and 2 injuries potentially related to the defect.
But NHTSA's survey found something much more alarming. 43% of owners they contacted said they had experienced at least 1 rear wheel lockup event, and more than 60% confirmed they had an unexpected downshift. Those are not small percentages. That is almost half the people they talked to saying, "Yeah, my truck tried to kill me." Can you believe that? Now think about what that actually means in real life. Imagine you are a contractor, driving your F-150 on the interstate with a trailer full of materials. You are in the left lane, doing 60, passing an 18-wheeler, and without any warning, your truck slams down 4 gears. Your rear tires lock up. The trailer starts pushing you. You have zero control over when or where this happens. You cannot predict it. You cannot prevent it. And Ford knew about it for over a year before they issued the recall. NHTSA forwarded owner complaints to Ford on October 30th of 2024. Ford's Critical Concern Review Group opened the case the very next day. But the recall did not happen until April 7th of 2026. That is 17 months of Ford studying the problem while owners were still driving these trucks every day on the highway. So what is Ford doing about it? They have a 2-part fix. Every recalled truck gets a free software update to the powertrain control module. The new calibration adds a delay before the computer commands a downshift, giving the system time to double-check whether the sensor signal is real or just a glitch. If your truck has already thrown specific transmission diagnostic trouble codes, you also get the lead frame physically replaced, and that is free too. Dealer notifications went out on April 15th.
But here is the catch. The actual owner notification letters are not going out until July 13th through the 17th. So Ford knows you have a truck that can lock its rear wheels on the highway, and the official letter telling you about it will not arrive for almost 3 months. One owner who had this exact problem back in November of 2024 paid $1,171.99 out of his own pocket to get it fixed. 5 months before the federal investigation even went public. And even when owners do get the recall notice, getting the work done is not going to be simple. Ford dealers across the country are already swamped with recall work from the 152 recalls issued last year. Owners in markets like Miami have reported 3-month waits just for 10R80 technical service bulletin work. Lead frame parts have been on national backorder on and off since 2023. And the remanufactured transmission recall from October 2025 made everything worse because trucks that had already been repaired needed the work done again with new parts. Carl Brower from IC Cars crunched the numbers and found that Ford accounted for 12 of the 25 most recalled vehicles in America during the 12 months ending March of 2026. That is not a company with spare service capacity sitting around. But wait, there is something much bigger going on here. Because this is not the first time Ford has recalled the F-150 for this exact type of transmission failure. Not even close. This is at least the 8th significant transmission recall on the modern F-150 since 2017. Go back to February of 2019. Ford recalled 1.26 million 2011 through 2013 F-150s for sudden downshifts to first gear. Same concept, different transmission generation. NHTSA documented 10 crashes and 3 injuries on that one before Ford finally acted. Then, the first software fix did not work, so they had to issue a follow-up recall for another 107,000 trucks. Then, in June of 2024, Ford recalled 552,000 2014 F-150s for the exact same downshift to first gear problem. That recall acknowledged 2 injuries and 1 crash, including a driver who hit a concrete barrier and another vehicle. And in October of 2025, Ford recalled 34,000 remanufactured 10R80 transmissions sold as service replacements because they were missing a critical bearing. So trucks that had already been fixed with replacement transmissions needed fixing again because the replacement parts were defective. It is like taking your truck to the doctor and the doctor gives you a disease.
Honestly, at some point you have to ask yourself whether Ford even knows how to build a transmission anymore. And I have not even gotten to the 10-speed yet. The 10R80 10-speed automatic is a transmission in the newer F-150s, the 2017 and up models, and it has been a complete disaster of its own. There are multiple class action lawsuits working their way through the federal courts right now. The lead case is called O'Connor versus Ford Motor Company, filed in July of 2019 by a guy from Illinois who leased a 2018 F-150 XLT. The class covers all 2017 through 2020 F-150 owners and lessees with the 10 speeds. The complaint cites at least 6 Ford technical service bulletins where Ford's own engineers admitted the transmission shifts harshly and erratically, jerks, lunges, clunks, and hesitates between gears. Ford's defense was that the transmission has adaptive learning and gets better over time. The court was not impressed. In February of 2026, the judge denied Ford's motion to throw out the plaintiff's expert witnesses and actually excluded one of Ford's experts instead. That is a terrible sign for Ford because it clears the path toward class certification, which means this could go from a single lawsuit to a massive judgment covering millions of trucks. A second class action, McCabe versus Ford, was filed in Massachusetts in April of 2023 and expanded the scope to include the F-150, Ranger, Mustang, Expedition, and Lincoln Navigator. That one survived a motion to dismiss in March of 2025. There is another one in California, there is one in Canada, and aggregate buyback claims across individual lemon law cases have already topped $47 million. One owner, a guy named Donovan Langford, settled for $165,000 on a single 2022 F-150 he originally bought for $65,000. And owners who are not going the legal route are getting crushed with repair bills. Independent shops quote $4,000 to $7,000 for a 10R80 rebuild.
Ford dealers charge anywhere from $5,000 to $13,000. One owner reported a $9,000 bill from a dealer. Another was quoted $13,000, with Ford generously offering to cover about half. I want to talk about something that almost never gets mentioned in the coverage of Ford's transmission problems. Ford did not design this 10-speed transmission by itself. Back in April of 2013, Ford and General Motors announced a joint venture at Ford's headquarters in Dearborn, Michigan. The two biggest rivals in the American truck market sat down and agreed to build a transmission together. Ford led the design of the 10-speed for rear-wheel drive trucks. GM led the 9-speed for front-wheel drive cars. Each company builds their own version in their own factories, but the core architecture is shared. Same fundamental gear set design, same basic hardware. Ford actually rejected GM's 9-speed and built its own version, while GM built its own 10-speed variants for the Silverado, Sierra, Camaro, and Escalade. And guess what? GM has had its own problems with the same design. In November of 2024, GM recalled 461,000 Silverados, Sierras, and full-size SUVs for transmission valve failures that could lock the rear wheels. Sound familiar? Then, in March of 2025, GM recalled another 90,000 Cadillacs and Camaros for a different failure mode in the same transmission family. The two companies built this thing together, and now they are both recalling hundreds of thousands of trucks because of it. It is like two guys building a boat, and then both of them are surprised when it sinks. If you are finding this helpful, hit subscribe. I cover automotive news and truck industry stories every week with the numbers and details the mainstream press leaves out. Now let me show you how deep Ford's quality crisis really goes, because the F-150 transmission is not an isolated problem. It is a symptom. In 2025, Ford issued 152 separate safety recalls covering roughly 13 million vehicles. That is not a typo. 152 recalls in a single calendar year. That is the most any automaker has ever issued. Ever. The previous record was 77, set by General Motors back in 2014. Ford nearly doubled it. Honda came in second place with 53. Ford had almost 3 times as many. And about 27% of those recalls, 42 of them, were do-overs. Vehicles where the original software fix did not work but got marked as complete anyway. An analysis by IC Cars looked at the 12 months ending March of 2026 and found that Ford recalled approximately 19.6 million vehicles during that stretch. That is more than the rest of the entire auto industry combined. Toyota was in second place with 4 million. Stellantis had 3.4 million. Ford alone had more than all of them put together. And this is not just paperwork. In November of 2024, NHTSA slapped Ford with a $165 million civil penalty for botching a rear-view camera recall. That is the second largest fine in NHTSA history, behind only the Takata airbag scandal. Ford is now under a 3-year consent order with an independent monitor. Through April of 2026, Ford has already issued 18 more recalls, covering 7.4 million additional vehicles, including a 4.3 million truck recall for trailer module defects in February. And here is the part that really should bother every Ford truck owner. The F-150 is not just some vehicle in Ford's lineup. It is the vehicle. Morgan Stanley estimated that the F-Series accounts for roughly 90% of Ford's global profits. 90%. They valued the truck franchise alone at $63 billion back in 2018. That was about 150% of Ford's entire company value at the time. Ford sold 828,000 F-Series trucks in the United States in 2025, making it the best-selling vehicle in America for the 44th consecutive year, and the best-selling truck for the 49th. The average transaction price in August of 2025 was $66,934, the highest of any top 10 vehicle in the country. Implied annual F-Series revenue is around $50 billion.
A 5% bump in F-150 volume translates to roughly a 10% lift in Ford's entire bottom line.
This is the truck that pays for everything else Ford does. And Ford cannot keep the transmission from falling apart. So what does Jim Farley, Ford's CEO, have to say about all of this? Honestly, he has been more candid than almost any automaker CEO in recent memory. And that is what makes this so frustrating. At the Wolfe Research Investor Conference in February of 2024, Farley said, and I am paraphrasing here, that Ford's engineering, supply chain, and manufacturing capability had atrophied, and that it was a humbling thing to admit. He called the quality problems self-inflicted wounds. He admitted that warranty costs regularly exceed $4 billion a year. He even benchmarked the Toyota Tundra as the quality standard Ford is chasing, noting that Toyota hits 55 problems per 1,000 vehicles within 3 months, and that Ford has never achieved that.
Ford's Chief Operating Officer Kumar Galhotra went on an earnings call and admitted Ford is not satisfied with the current level of recalls. Farley has pointed to a $450 million reduction in warranty costs year over year and called quality the single biggest driver to close their cost gap. All the right words, but here is what happened next. Farley's 2025 total compensation came in at $27.5 million. That is an 11% raise. His $5.7 million bonus was specifically tied to quality and software revenues per vehicle, according to Ford's own proxy filing. So Ford's board is rewarding Farley for quality improvements while the company issues more recalls than any automaker in history and catches the second largest NHTSA fine ever. Call me old-fashioned, but if my company just broke the all-time recall record, I would probably not be celebrating with a raise.
And you know what makes this even harder to swallow? While Ford truck owners are dealing with transmissions that lock up at highway speed, Jim Farley has been spending his time driving a Xiaomi SU7. That is a Chinese electric sedan. He had it flown from Shanghai to Chicago and told a podcast host in April of 2026 that he drives it every day and does not want to give it up. He called the Chinese automaker BYD the best in the business for cost, supply chain, manufacturing, and intellectual property. He set up a secret project in Kentucky specifically designed to match BYD's cost structure. Look, I get it, know your competition. But there is something that rubs the wrong way about a CEO obsessing over Chinese electric cars while the bread-and-butter American pickup truck that pays for his entire company cannot keep a transmission together for 100,000 miles. Meanwhile, the F-150's competitors are gaining ground. GM, combining the Silverado and Sierra, has outsold the F-Series on a corporate level for several consecutive years. Roughly 920,000 GM full-size trucks in 2025 versus Ford's 829,000. In the first quarter of 2026, Ford's full-size truck market share dropped from 35% to 31%. Ram surged to 20% by bringing back the 5.7-liter Hemi V8 and offering a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. And the reliability data is getting harder to ignore. J.D. Power's 2026 Vehicle Dependability Study ranked the Ram 1500 first, the Silverado second, and the F-150 tied for third. IC Cars data on trucks reaching 250,000 miles is even worse. Only 5.9% of F-150s make it that far. The Silverado hits 12.9%. The Toyota Tundra reaches 30%. The F-150 depreciates 37.9% over 5 years, worse than the full-size truck segment average. Class action filings are now explicitly citing diminished resale value as a damages theory. So Ford owners are not just dealing with a truck that might lock up on the highway. They are watching the value of their vehicle drain away because of it. And Wall Street is starting to lose patience. Dan Levy at Barclays said in September of 2025 that the ongoing cycle of recalls remains a challenge, and it is unclear when the cycle might end.
Wells Fargo moved Ford to an underweight rating in October. Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas pointed out that warranty costs were still rising and EV losses were running at negative 100% margin. Ford absorbed a $570 million charge in the second quarter of 2025 just for the Bronco Sport and Escape fuel injector recall alone.
Farley keeps saying that 90% of the recalls trace back to vehicles engineered before he became CEO in October of 2020. And the 2015 through 2017 F-150s in this recall do support that timeline. But that excuse has a shelf life. At some point, the trucks built under Farley's watch are going to be the old ones. And if they are still breaking, the self-inflicted wounds line stops being a diagnosis and starts being an epitaph.